Welcome to this episode's deep dive analysis. Okay, today we're taking a really fascinating journey into the heart of modern consumer habits. We're going to unpack a slice of life dialogue that reveals exactly how people navigate the incredibly complex world of modern retail. By looking super closely at a conversation between two everyday shoppers, we're going to extract the psychology, the strategies, and even the essential internet slang that completely defines shopping today. Get ready, because this might just change how you think about clicking that buy button.
So, before we really get into it, I want you to stop and think for a second. Are you a savvy online shopper, or do you constantly buy things you instantly regret the moment that box hits your porch? Look, we've all been there, right? That late-night impulse buy, or the flashy ad that totally tricked us. Well, today we're going to meet two character archetypes, Yajun and Lin Sheng, who represent two very distinct approaches to this exact dilemma.
All right, Section 1, Consumer Profiles and Preferences. Let's see exactly who our two avatars are as shoppers.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, in our source dialogue, we see a huge contrast in what these characters actually go out and buy. Lin Sheng, well, his targets are super specific and mostly functional or hobby-driven. It's all about sneakers and electronics like mobile phones and computers. Pretty high-ticket, specs-heavy stuff, right? But on the flip side, we've got Yagun. Her focus is totally on the lifestyle and aesthetic side of things. Clothes, accessories. It's basically a textbook comparison of two completely different shopping worlds. Moving on to Section 2, the brand versus price debate. Because, figuring out what they buy is really only half the story here.
So in the dialogue, Lin Sheng poses what is literally the ultimate shopper's question. Do you value brand or price more? It's the classic divide. Lin Sheng, being the tech and sneaker guy, inherently brings this heavily price-conscious lens to the table. He's always weighing the specs against the dollar. But Yajun's response? It is an absolute masterclass in modern consumer balance. She admits, hey, I'm brand conscious. She prioritizes the label, which makes sense because in fashion, the brand often equals style and quality. But she makes it crystal clear that she's still keeping a very close eye on the price tag. She wants the brand for sure, but there's no way she's letting herself get ripped off to get it.
Which brings us to Section 3, Navigating the Digital Marketplace. And heads up, this is where some of the coolest internet slang of our source material pops up.
When Lin Sheng asks if she prefers physical stores or buying online, she is all in on online, but with one really major caveat. Yajun says, I will look at reviews first, then decide whether or not to buy. This just perfectly nails her cautious, research-heavy strategy. She doesn't just blindly trust a brand name she loves, she literally uses the digital hive mind to verify everything before she ever hits checkout.
And why is she so incredibly careful? Well, to avoid what Lin Sheng calls kai lei. This is such a great piece of colloquial slang. Kai lei literally translates to stepping on a mine. I mean, think about it like this. Shopping online is kind of like a digital minefield. You see this amazing picture of a jacket, you buy it, and when it finally arrives, it feels like cheap plastic. Boom. You just stepped on a mine. So, by obsessively reading reviews, you're basically navigating around those hidden e-commerce traps.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Yajun replies to that modern internet slang. She reaches way back in time and drops a classic, traditional idiom, Horbi Sanja Buchi Kue. Basically, shop around at 3 places and you won't lose out. It is this brilliant collision of old and new. Hundreds of years ago, this literally meant walking to 3 different physical market stalls. Today, it just means opening up 3 different browser tabs to cross-reference prices. The tech has totally changed, but the fundamental wisdom is exactly the same.
So how can we actually use this? If we synthesize Yajun and Lin Sheng's dialogue, it gives us this bulletproof 3-step guide to successful online shopping. Step 1. Do your recon. Read the reviews first so you don't step on a mine. Step 2. Apply that ancient wisdom and compare 3 different stores to make sure you're getting the absolute best deal. And Step 3, only then do you easily place your order. It's a seriously practical system.
But all this brings up a really fascinating crossroads. Both of our characters completely agree that ordering online is incredibly convenient. So it kind of begs the question, with all this digital savvy, do physical stores even matter anymore? Let's see how our dialogue handles this.
All right, our final stretch. Section 4, the Mother's Day mission. Time for some real-world action.
And this brilliantly illustrates that even though they're absolute digital masters, they still crave that real physical experience. Yajun kicks things off by inviting Linsheng to check out the newly opened mall this weekend afternoon. Because, it's not just about the transaction anymore, it's about the event of actually going out. And Linsheng immediately jumps in and gives this trip a real purpose. Mother's Day is coming up, and they need to figure out what gifts to buy for their moms. Suddenly, the physical mall becomes this perfect venue for inspiration. It's a place to see, touch, and really experience the products together before making that final, crucial gift decision.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a little something to think about, directly inspired by their weekend mission. If you were out shopping for your mom today, trying to navigate this crazy modern retail world, would you rely on the prestige of a big brand, the practicality of a low price, or the safety of online reviews to make sure you don't step on a mine? Seriously, think about how you balance these factors in your own life. Try using the strategies we unpacked today. Maybe even shop around 3 places so you don't lose out. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I will catch you on the next explainer.